I posted visiting Mrs. Burnage a couple days ago before the police had come to investigate Mr. and Mrs. Burnage. Based on what's happened, I now realize that I couldn't have done anything stupider. After I took the photos I posted, all I wanted to do was run as fast as I could away from her house. But I didn't want to further arouse her suspicion. I couldn't let her think that I'd seen Jason's body. I regulated my pace, counting each deliberate step as if I were back in marching band. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I did that until I was out of sight from Mrs. Burnage. Then I ran, pushing myself so hard that as I ran past the Adams' old house, I toppled over, slamming into the ground and spinning around once before coming to an embarrassing stop. I got back up, wiped myself off, and noticed my watch. It had broken. The face had cracked right down the middle with spiderweb cracks shooting off to the left, the right side remaining mostly intact. It had stopped on 6:37. I had received the watch as a present from my ex-wife. I looked down at it and half smiled. I'd always hated the thing anyway. It was a stupid gift. With cell phones, who needs watches anymore? Plus, it was too big. The face alone was nearly the size of my palm and looked stupid on my small wrists, next to my girly hands. I'm not even sure why I continued wearing it after we got divorced. I guess it's hard to let things go sometimes. It seems we all have mementos we kind of want to hold on to. Anyway, getting rid of the watch was low on my list of priorities, so I again started running, albeit a bit more carefully this time, until I arrived home. Once I got to the house, I immediately called up the sheriff's office in the small town where I live and asked to speak with the sheriff himself, Alex Wallace. I had known Mr. Wallace for most of my life. He and his wife had gone to my church before Mrs. Wallace died a few years ago. He had stopped going since her passing, but he was still a pretty close family friend. When the secretary transferred me to him, relief spread through me. A cool tingling sensation started on my head, down my neck, and emanating out, pushing away the fear and anxiety I'd been feeling. I hurriedly proceeded to tell him the Reader's Digest version of what I've already posted here on Reddit. He listened to me carefully, and he assured me that he would get it taken care of. He told me that he needed me to prepare a written statement and send it to his email, along with the photos that I took. He said that because this case was so high priority, and had been a thorn in his department's side for so long, he wanted to make sure everything was done just right. He said he'd handle it personally, and was on his way to their house. I asked him if I needed to go down to the station to make an official statement. He said that wouldn't be necessary because he was going to need all his staff in the field. He said the emailed statement and photos would suffice. The instant I pressed end on my phone, my anxiety and fear swelled up and crashed down on me once again, with a vengeance, rendering me completely incomprehensible and shaking on the floor. I wept. I wept for Jason, imagining what horrors he went through. Had he sought kind refuge at the Burnage's house when he ran away from home? How long did they keep him alive before they killed him and preserved the body? What did they do to him before he died? Were there others? I wept for myself. Will they come after me? What if it had been me instead of Jason? Did Mrs. Burnage notice me taking the pictures? These thoughts raced through my head and seemed to be connected only to my tear ducts and throat, as all I could do was wail and cry, my tears pooling on the cool tiles. After quite some time, I knew I had to write my statement. It took me a little over an hour to type up the whole thing. Once I read it over, checking for errors as best I could, I sent it to Mr. Wallace. I felt both relieved and tensed when his response email came back, almost immediately.
Michael, I'm outside their house. I see what you're talking about on the photo you sent. It appears that they have moved it. I don't see it anymore. I've questioned them but didn't see or hear anything that would allow me to arrest them. I'm watching their house. I'm putting people on it around the clock. Don't worry about a thing, but do not, I repeat, do not leave your house. You'll be safe there. Let me know if you need anything or if you will go anywhere else. Thank you, Alex.
I couldn't understand why he didn't want me to leave the house. But he was a professional, and he had to know what was best. Maybe he wanted to make sure that he or another officer was near me at all times to ensure my safety, or ask me questions if needed. Anyway, I needed to relieve some stress, and writing has always helped me relax and get my feelings out. I decided to go ahead and edit my written police statement slightly and post it to No Sleep. That was around 10:30 p.m. Writing and reading the comments helped me feel that I wasn't alone, and that gave me some relief. I was even able to get a bit of sleep until I woke up around 4:30 a.m. I thought that it was odd that I hadn't seen the police yet, nor had I heard sirens. I figured with something like this, they would keep me posted. I checked my email and phone and still nothing new from Mr. Wallace. I checked Reddit for any advice that anyone had, and commented to de-stress. I responded to an update request from user DannyI1, as I considered what I was going to do. He asked if they had been arrested yet. I responded, apparently not yet. It's 4:52 a.m. now, and I can't sleep. I've been listening for sirens, so far nothing. I thought to myself again why they hadn't done more on the case yet. I continued, doubt creeping in. Maybe the police didn't believe me. I sent them the photos. They were all I had. As I was typing that, my heart leapt out of my chest, and I jumped because the dog started barking out of my bedroom window. I went to go comfort him, but then I looked over at what he was seeing. If I were a dog, I'd have barked too. But instead, my mouth went dry, and I started sweating. Outside on the driveway, I saw 2, maybe 3 figures. One of them was almost unmistakably an aged woman, shrunk a little and hunched over. After all that had happened, I'd recognized the silhouette anywhere, Mrs. Burnage. The figures disappeared into the woods across the street. Terrified, I had to finish my post in case they found my dead body or something and had to investigate. I think I just saw Mr. and Mrs. Burnage walk past the driveway by my house. The dogs keep barking when they do. I am calling again. I clicked post and immediately went from my browser app to the phone app. I called Mr. Wallace's cell phone. He picked up.
Hello, Mike. What's up?
Pretty sure I fucking just saw the Burnages go by my house. Where are you? Where are your people? I demanded.
We're outside the Burnages' house, and I swear that we've been watching everything very carefully. I don't know how they could have been there. Are you sure you're just not tired and seeing things? He asked.
No, I responded. I know the difference between reality and imagination. I am not imagining things. I know that... Just then the dog barked again, and I saw them walk past again. There were definitely 3 figures, one of them holding a flashlight, another was Mr. Burnage, and the third, Mrs. Burnage. I continued. They're outside my house. I know it's them. There's someone else with them.
Shit, he exclaimed worriedly. Hide somewhere. I'll be there soon. Make sure they can't find you. Don't come out until I'm there.
I did what he said. I ran downstairs and hid in a closet under some blankets with only my phone. I tried to call my parents, who were out of town, but they had complained a while ago that they didn't like getting texts in the middle of the night. So I had helped them program their phones automatically to be on Do Not Disturb between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. They'd not see my calls until 2 hours later. Reddit was open once I closed my phone app, so I tried to distract myself from my overwhelming fear and posted a response to user Happy Harlot. It's 5:06 a.m. The Burnages have walked by my house a few times. I called the police again. They said it would be soon, and they will be here. My breathing now heavy. I couldn't stand being there anymore. Claustrophobia overwhelming me. Fear filling the spaces along the wall, pushing the walls closer to me. What if they found me in the closet? What would they do to me? I had to get out. I had to get out. Through my terror, I typed my plan out to see if it made any sense. I can't wait any longer. I'm getting in my car and staying in a hotel until I know what's going on. Terrified that they know where I live. I looked at my plan on the screen, and the plan looked good enough for me. I couldn't be in that closet for more than a second. I pressed post, took a deep breath, and opened the closet door. I ran to the door in the basement that leads outside. I flipped the deadbolt and opened the door. My car was parked just outside the garage, but that presented a bit of a problem. You see, the basement is obviously lower than the garage, and to get to the garage, I had to run down part of the driveway and around the ivied retaining wall. And I knew they would see me once I got on the other side of the retaining wall. I figured I'd be faster than old people if it came to it, so I decided to go for it. Adrenaline surging through me, my legs raced towards the wall. I reached the edge of the wall and rounded the corner, sprinting towards my car. I grabbed my keys out of my pockets as I was running, and I kept my eyes on the main road and the surrounding woods to make sure that they weren't coming. I couldn't see anyone. I almost ran into my car when I saw Mr. Wallace standing by it, accompanied by Mr. and Mrs. Burnage. Mr. Wallace smiled at me, shook his finger, and chided. "I thought I told you to stay hidden until I came to get you. No matter. This should be just as easy." Before I could even react, he jumped across the hood of the car, tackling me face first to the ground, put handcuffs on me behind my back. He picked me up by the handcuffs and pushed me into the back of my own car. What followed was too traumatizing to even write up and post now. I'll try to get it typed up tomorrow evening, but it's still so fresh. I need to sleep. I've been driving for hours, and I haven't slept since I woke up at 4:30 the other night. I'm at a hotel. There's no way I'm giving any indication of where I am, but I assure you that I am physically safe. For now, I think.